The recording's in progress. I guess that must mean we should say something, Cole. But it's good to see you again. It's been a while since we've seen each other, and your hair looks a little bit longer than the last
It,
time.
it it tends to get
So you're
longer.
not cutting that hair, even though your wife wants you to cut your hair. My wife wants you to cut your hair. I think you look like, from the back, I bet people mistake you for a woman.
All the time. About
Are you
once
serious? It
a
really
day, my
happens.
wife and I will go out to eat, and the waitress will come from behind and say, "I'll be right with you, ladies." Hey, but John, I have a big announcement. My
Okay.
grandson kind of inspired me. He's now twice cut his long hair and donated it to kids with cancer, and
Nice.
decided to cut my hair
You're
and
gonna
donate
do it.
to you, who is a little hair insufficient. So it's going to
You're
be a
gonna donate there to
gift
me.
to you. So, and it's kind of like, who was it? Who was it who couldn't cut his hair or he would lose his strength?
Oh, Samson.
Samson. So it's going to be like you, John. I'm going to give you this great photographic strength with my hair.
Oh gosh.
The
And if
first
I
time you go out and the wind's blowing your hair in your face and you whip it to the side, you are going to have like great photographic powers.
will they be all be in color?
No, no, they'll never be in color.
Hey,
Uh,
last show we announced that we're at 808 followers. I because we do these shows one after another, we don't know, but wouldn't you think because we did those 5 key tips for successful
oh,
photography, we probably through the roof to maybe
way up there.
810?
We,
810.
John, stop. I can dream, but I dare not hope.
But seriously, we get 810. I think, isn't that when like YouTube like stops everything for the day, sends us a notice and puts us on some special program of the up
I,
and coming channels or something? Or the
I think we could actually call ourselves influencers once we hit 810.
big time influencers. All right, so here we go. So here's the thought. This is one you sent a while back. And so your thought was that you're an artist of some sort. Let's say you're a painter and you don't have any photography skills necessarily, but you want to take up artistic photography. So would you rather be, that artist who has, artistic skill but no photographic skill taking up artistic photography, or would you rather be a technically proficient photographer who knows, depth of field and the settings and f-stops and the relationship of the triad, all those things, right? Technically proficient photographer who then moves into, artistic or expressionistic, I guess you might say, photography. So what was your thought there? I have a couple of thoughts, but that was your idea that you sent along. So which one would it be fair to ask you which one you'd rather be?
Well, I would like to hear from viewers too, because from my experience, most of the people I interact with were photographers who tried to then become creative photographers.
I would agree with that.
Every once in a while, I've known 3 or 4 people who were painters or sculptors or something. And I think often they used photography to help them with their painting or sculpting.
Yeah, they might take a snapshot and then paint from that. Yep.
And they became then photographers. And that always surprised me. And I noticed a real difference in how they approached this art.
Huh.
They came at it from the art aspect, not the technical aspect. They weren't focused on cameras. They often didn't know much about their camera at all. And so I thought it was just a huge difference the way the two groups approached it.
Well, so my thought is you're right. If we think about photography, generally people don't think about it as art, right? For whatever reason, which frustrates me and you, I'm sure, and people of our ilk, if you will, who think that we are making art and expressing ourselves with a camera. I mean, to me, it's very much art. But in general, when we go to workshops, traditional type workshops, it's all about really mastering technical aspects. How do you focus stack? Well, might be something that's discussed. How do you get maximum depth of field, right? And it's all in the context of technical. And so that's really interesting. Where I suspect, and I've never done this, but I suspect if I'm going to go take art classes and learn how to do watercolor painting, I'm probably going to learn about mixing colors to some degree, and maybe the right brush and some equipment things. But I got to believe very quickly it's going to be all about the art and seeing more deeply, as we've discussed in previous shows, right? Beyond that, it's a rock, it's a circle, and organizing graphic shapes. So that's my first thought. The second thought is, and it's not one of these either ors, would you rather be an artist who then wants to create again, just to remind everybody, an artist that then creates artistic, expressionistic photography, or do you want to be that real technician of a photographer who then we try to help you become an expressionistic photographer from there? I go back to a story I've shared before, but because the numbers of viewers has like quadrupled since maybe
Mushroom.
that, yeah, mushrooms since that show. I'll tell it again. Flint Sparks comes to my mind. He's my co-leader at the contemplative photography retreat that we do in Hawaii. He came to photography being a Zen priest, a PhD psychologist who had a psychology practice for couples and marriage therapy and all that stuff for years, right? And then he had an iPhone, but then DeWitt Jones, said to him one day, "You really should get a camera and take up photography. I think you'd really like it." And he was, yep. Oh, got to sneeze.
Sorry.
That's okay. And he was spectacular right away. And it makes me think of these two questions, and it might be the third one. What hit me very quickly, without telling the whole long story again, I think anybody who hasn't heard the story, just go watch every one of our shows. Every one. There's like 99. If you
Is
would
it
watch
really?
every one again, even if you've watched them, do it again so our numbers go up. Then that helps the algorithm. But seriously, Flint came to it with being an incredible human being, is what I discovered. So he came at a creative pursuit with a camera and was creating very expressionistic, or images filled with expression, because he didn't really care about the technical parts of a camera, still doesn't, but he's really good at being connected to those moments and expressing what he's feeling. So I don't know. To me, that fits into this discussion too.
Here's what I think about when I talk with people who are trying to become more artistic, create more expressive photography, fine art photography. I ask them rhetorically, where do you spend your time? Where's your focus?
Yeah.
If you're spending your time reading technical articles in the magazines and researching gear and looking at new ways to process images, that's where your focus is going to be.
Yeah.
If you want to become more expressive, that's a whole different approach. And it's not focusing on the technical stuff. And we're always going to have people who are going to write in and say, yeah, but you can't do the artistic without the technical.
Yeah.
And my argument is you learn the technical as it is needed.
Yeah.
As you come across a problem, you learn to solve that problem to express your vision. But again, if you're consuming technical stuff day and night, that's what you're going to be, a technical photographer.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, just to wrap this up, I don't want to go too long, but to your last point, remember, it is you who said you were that technical photographer. And the reason why was because you didn't feel that you could make expressive photographs. So that's an important part of this discussion, is to help our audience realize that, and I don't mean this mean at all, but if Cole can get over that hurdle, anybody can get over that hurdle, right?
I wish people could have known me then to understand how little talent I believe I had. And so I just thought excelling in the technical would compensate. And I was good in the darkroom.
Yeah.
But that's when I simplified and I said, I'm going to put aside all of these fancy processes and gears and gadgets and blah, 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 and just use
Yeah.
what's needed.
Yep.
So anyway,
All right. Well, I think that's a good show. Good discussion. See you in a couple of seconds.